Stop scrolling because Atlanta just turned into the season finale of a reality show so wild it makes the Kardashians look like a church choir rehearsal. Forget petty Instagram beefs, forget Waffle House brawls. This time, the chaos comes with hospital monitors, ICU whispers, and a doctor's report so chilling it sent shockwaves from Atlanta streets to Hollywood Hills. That's right, King Harris, the headline-grabbing son of rap titan T.I. and R&B powerhouse Tiny, is at the center of a medical bombshell that left fans terrified, family members collapsing, and the internet spinning theories faster than conspiracy TikTok. We're not talking about a stubbed toe or a routine checkup. No, this report dropped like a bombshell plot twist, the kind that makes you pause Netflix because real life just went darker, messier, and juicier than scripted drama ever could. Insiders say the ICU update was so devastating that even T.I.'s legendary swagger evaporated. Tiny? Posting cryptic messages that feel less like reassurance and more like digital funeral hymns. Fans? Flooding timelines with crying emojis, prayer circles, and Lord, not King captions. And the scariest part? Nobody's giving straight answers. That silence? It's louder than a Drake album rollout. Stay locked in, because what doctors allegedly said has the power to rewrite not just King Harris' future, but the Harris dynasty's entire legacy. Let's get one thing straight, King Harris has never been normal. From the moment he popped out as the heir to hip-hop royalty T.I., the self-proclaimed King of the South, and Tiny, the iron backbone of the Harris empire, King was born into chaos. And instead of hiding from the spotlight like some celebrity kids, he sprinted into it like it was a 100-meter dash. You want drama? King served it like a bottomless buffet. From the infamous diner blow-up where he nearly turned a plate of eggs into a UFC main event to his viral Instagram lives roasting his own parents, he's been feeding the internet headline after headline. The man could sneeze and Twitter would trend #BlessYouKing. He wasn't just living in the public eye, he was milking it for clout like a pro. But here's where the story flipped from funny to terrifying. Whispers leaked out of Atlanta's hospital corridors. King Harris wasn't just in the ICU, he had been hit with the doctors. Reports so grim it left his family in shambles and fans terrified. And once that word report slipped, the internet didn't just react, it erupted like Vesuvius with WI-5. Think about it. How many times do you hear ICU and final words from doctors in the same sentence without breaking into a cold sweat? This wasn't a sprained ankle. This wasn't food poisoning. This was serious. Serious enough that even the Harris family's usually bulletproof PR machine didn't have a script ready. Insiders, those mysterious sources who are probably the cousin of someone's Uber driver, claimed the doctor's report was delivered straight to the Harris family with phrases like, "Prepare yourselves in critical stage." That's all the internet needed to go full doomsday. Overnight, TikTok was drowning in slowed-down King Harris clips set to sad piano tracks. Twitter, sorry X, went on fire with hashtags like #PrayForKing and #HarrisFamilyCollapse. In the family, crew witnesses painted scenes straight out of a soap opera. Tiny, usually the calm anchor of the Harris empire, was reportedly seen sobbing uncontrollably in the hallway, needing help to stand. T.I., the man who once built a career on bravado and swagger, was pacing like a lion trapped in a cage, fist clenched, face twisted with rage and fear. Some say he even punched a wall after hearing the doctor's words. That's not rap king behavior, that's a father realizing life just slapped his empire in the face. For once, the Harris family wasn't in control. No carefully curated Instagram photos. No confident clapbacks. No staged, "we're fine" interviews. Just silence, tears, and chaos. And in today's digital age, silence is like blood in the water. It draws the sharks. Fans went wild. One minute they were praying, posting candle emojis, and "Stay Strong King" edits. The next, they were debating if this was karma for King's cocky attitude in the past. Some trolls were ruthless, reposting clips of him screaming at his dad on live with captions like, "You was loud then." Where that energy now? The internet doesn't care if you're sick or suffering. It will drag you while praying for you in the same breath, and let's not pretend this came out of nowhere. King Harris has been living like a ticking time bomb for months. Every fight, every meltdown, every public stunt felt like another crack in the dam. Fans laughed, blogs cashed in, and memes circulated. But deep down, people whispered, "This can't end well." When the IQ leak hit, that whisper turned into a scream. Suddenly, everyone was a detective, connecting dots that weren't even on the same page. Clips of King flexing on Instagram were now being reframed as signs of struggle. Interviews were T.I. dismissed. His son's antics were pulled back up with captions like, "This was the warning." Even Tiny's old reality show. Moments were repackaged as proof that the family had ignored King's cries for help. But here's the kicker. The doctor's report itself was never fully released. Nobody knows exactly what it said. And that void of truth. Oh, it's the internet's favorite playground. Bloggers filled it with speculation, fans filled it with fear, and conspiracy theorists filled it with madness. One thread went viral claiming King had been poisoned. Another swore this was an industry sacrifice tied to T.I.'s business deals. And yes, because it's 2025, somehow Beyoncé and Diddy's names got dragged into it too. Because why not? The Harris family didn't make it easier. Instead of clarity, they dropped cryptic hints. T.I. posted a tweet saying, "God's plan is bigger than ours." Which, of course, the internet immediately tied to Drake. Suddenly, #DrakeIsInvolved was trending, with fans making memes like, "Did King's ICU report come with a soundtrack?" Tiny posted a black and white photo with the caption, "Together, always." Sweet, right? Except fans zoomed in and realized King wasn't in the photo. BOOM instant theory that things were worse than they admitted. By now, King's ICU saga wasn't just about health. It was about reputation, family legacy, and the dark underbelly of celebrity culture. This wasn't just a report. It was a mirror held up to the Harris dynasty, showing every crack, every flaw, every messy truth they tried to hide behind reality TV smiles. And the scariest part? The first reactions weren't just shock. They were hysteria. Absolute, unfiltered hysteria. Candlelight vigils popped up outside the hospital. Fans made t-shirts like they were preparing for a memorial service before any official statement. YouTubers pumped out the rise and fall of King Harris videos with dramatic voiceovers, while TikTok detectives filmed 15-part theories about what really went down in the ICU. The Harris family couldn't even grieve privately. The internet had already turned their crisis into a spectator sport. King wasn't just a patient anymore. He was a trending hashtag. A headline, a storyline the world was consuming like popcorn. So let's ask the burning question. What exactly did those doctors say that made the Harris family collapse? Fans terrified and the internet spiral into chaos? Because if this is just the beginning of the ICU saga, then buckle up. The next twist is going to make this chapter look like a warm-up act. If you thought the IQ leak was the climax, think again. That was just the spark. What came next was a wildfire that burned through timelines, group chats, and Instagram feeds faster than a Nicki versus Cardi beef. The moment doctor's report hit trending, celebrities started chiming in like they were auditioning for a new season of Love and Hip Hop, ICU edition. And let's be honest, some of them couldn't resist turning tragedy into a spotlight. First up, Boosie Badazz. The man hopped on Instagram Live in tears, clutching his chest like he just got bad news from Maury. He shouted, "Y'all better pray for King. Atlanta can't lose another one." Emotional, yes. Subtle, no. But before his live ended, someone had already remixed his sobs into a TikTok track called "Pray for King," and you guessed it, it went viral. Nothing says tragedy like fans hitting the renegade dance to your tears. Then came 50 Cent. Of course, 50 doesn't pray publicly, he trolls poetically. He dropped a photo of a broken crown on Instagram with the caption, "Even kings bleed." Stay up, lil bro? Supportive? Shady? No one knew. But the comments section exploded with theories, dragging T.I. into old beefs and debating if 50 was really just promoting his next TV show. Classic FIF. Meanwhile, reality TV alums like Yandy Smith, Rashida, and Carly Red suddenly found their inner Oprah, posting paragraphs about family values. One wrote, "Life is fragile, y'all. Hug your loved ones." Sweet words, sure, but the comments were savage. One fan clapped back, "You wasn't hugging nobody when you threw a drink on national TV." The internet never forgets, but the real twist? Rappers at war hit pause. People who couldn't go a week without subliminally dissing each other suddenly came together under hashtag Pray for King. Fans were stunned. It was like watching Drake and Kanye hold hands in church. Even Young Thug and Ghana's feuding camps managed to stop fighting long enough to spam prayer emojis. That alone tells you how huge this IQ bombshell was. And while celebrities were posting prayers, the internet was doing what it does best, making memes out of disaster. Some were harmless, others savage enough to make the devil clutch his pearls. One meme photoshopped King Harris into a hospital bed surrounded by Tupac, Pop Smoke, and Juice WRLD with the caption, "Studio session loading." Dark humor? Absolutely. Did it hit 2 million shares? You know it. Another had a crying T.I. captioned, "Expeditiously devastated." Because leave it to the internet to roast a man's vocabulary. While his family's collapsing, but memes weren't the only monster. Conspiracy theories erupted like popcorn in a microwave. Threads popped up faster than you could refresh. This isn't about health. It's a cover-up for T.I.'s business deals. The Harris family knows too much. The industry is silencing them. Diddy's name is all over this if you read between the lines. And yes, somehow Beyoncé and Jay-Z got dragged in because in 2025, the Illuminati apparently has a finger in every pie. The Harris family tried to calm things, but their cryptic responses only poured gas on the fire. T.I. tweeted, "God's plan is always bigger than ours." Within an hour, Drake's God's Plan was trending, with fans speculating if Drizzy had coded knowledge of the ICU report. Drake himself had to comment, "Y'all gotta chill. I'm not in this one." Tiny posted, "Together, always under a family picture," but fans zoomed in like CSI agents and realized King wasn't in the shot. Suddenly, TikTok detectives were posting pixelated breakdowns, screaming, "They're hiding something." At this point, the story wasn't even about King's health anymore. It had mutated into a cultural event, part tragedy, part comedy, part conspiracy thriller. Fans weren't just following updates, they were role-playing as investigators. Pastors and stand-up comedians all at once. Blogs went wild. TMZ had paparazzi camping outside the hospital. Shade Room was pumping out hourly updates, like they were live blogging the Super Bowl. One so-called exclusive even claimed they had leaked audio of the doctors delivering the report. Spoiler, it sounded suspiciously like dialogue stolen from Grey's Anatomy. But fans didn't care, they spread it anyway. Meanwhile, YouTube commentary channels smelled blood in the water. Within hours, titles like "The Rise and Fall of King Harris" and T.I.'s "Family Secrets Finally Exposed" racked up hundreds of thousands of views. Creators were stretching 2 minutes of rumors into 45-minute breakdowns with dramatic thunder sound effects. And fans ate it up like it was a Marvel premiere. But here's where things got darker. Fans who once joked about King's antics now rebranded him as a tragic warning. His viral Waffle House fight? Suddenly framed as a cry for help. His IG arguments with T.I.? Now labeled the signs nobody saw. Overnight, the internet rewrote his history, transforming chaos into foreshadowing. And it wasn't just fans. Rival rappers took subliminal shots, not daring to say his name but dripping enough shade to fuel suspicion. One tweeted, "Karma don't miss." Another wrote, "Protect your kids before fame eats them alive." Everyone knew who they were aiming at, and the timing was no coincidence. The scariest part? The Harris family couldn't stop it. Every time they stayed silent, the internet invented new narratives. Every time they posted cryptically, the internet twisted it into proof of disaster. They were no longer steering the ship. The ship was hijacked by millions of fans. Trolls and bloggers sailing it straight into stormier waters. And through it all, one question screamed louder than the memes, the tears, and the theories. What exactly did the doctors say? Because until the world knew, fans weren't just terrified. They were hooked, obsessed, waiting for the next update, like junkies waiting for a fix. The horror saga had officially morphed into something bigger than an ICU report. It wasn't just family business anymore. It was the internet's new obsession, equal parts tragedy, spectacle, and viral currency. And if this was only the second act, you already know the finale is going to be even uglier. By the time the smoke cleared, King Harris wasn't just another headline, he was the headline. The ICU shock didn't just rattle fans. It left a permanent mark on the Harris dynasty, the industry, and the way the public sees celebrity families. This wasn't just news. This was a cultural event, dissected, exaggerated, and immortalized by millions of voices who couldn't stop talking about it. Let's start with the Harris family's reputation. Once upon a time, T.I. was untouchable. The king of the South, the hustler turned mogul, the man who prided himself on controlling every narrative. But the ICU saga cracked his armor. Those paparazzi shots of T.I. outside the hospital, face aged, shoulders heavy. Pacing like a man who couldn't fight his way out of this one, they told a story money, fame, and fancy words couldn't cover up. For an artist whose brand was power and dominance, seeing him so vulnerable was like watching Superman cough up kryptonite. Tiny wasn't spared either. The internet divided into camps. Half called her the backbone, the silent warrior trying to hold her family together while the world gawked. The other half painted her as complicit, too soft, too enabling, the mother who let chaos snowball into tragedy. Old clips from Family Hustle resurfaced, rebranded as evidence. One viral tweet captioned a throwback clip of her hugging King after an outburst with, "And this is where it all went wrong." Savage doesn't even begin to describe it. Then there's King himself. His reputation is now split down the middle like a cracked phone screen. To some, he's the tragic prince of Atlanta, a kid crushed by fame, born into chaos with no chance to escape the storm. To others, he's the reckless rebel whose arrogance and antics finally caught up with him. Victim or villain, martyr or menace, King Harris is now a symbol. And symbols rarely get to choose how they're remembered. The ripple effects didn't stop with the Harris name. This ICU saga forced every celebrity family into the hot seat. Red carpets turned into therapy sessions, with journalists asking awkward questions like, "How are you protecting your kids from fame?" Suddenly, everyone from the Kardashians to the Smiths had to give their 2 cents, because the Harris story became the cautionary tale no one could ignore. Even rival rappers weren't safe from the fallout. The ICU report became subliminal ammo. One rapper dropped a verse hinting, "Kings crumble when crowns get heavy." Fans immediately tied it to King Harris, dissecting lyrics like it was a secret diss. Another posted a cryptic Instagram story, "Don't play with karma." Everyone knew who they meant. Meanwhile, fans themselves turned into content creators of chaos. Candlelight vigils outside the hospital turned into TikTok lives with thousands of viewers. Tribute videos flooded YouTube, complete with dramatic narrations and slow-motion edits. Fan edits turned King into a Shakespearean character, tragic, flawed, misunderstood. The irony? The same fans who once roasted him for his cocky IG lives were now crying in comment sections, but the most brutal aftermath wasn't online, it was inside the Harris family. Sources whispered about rifts between T.I. and Tiny. T.I. wanted silence, privacy, control. Tiny leaned toward transparency, posting hints of hope. Their strategies clashed like two generals on opposite sides of a war. And King was the battlefield. The siblings got dragged into the storm too. Zoni couldn't post a selfie without fans flooding the comments. "How's King? Stop posting and tell us the truth." Domani was spotted outside the hospital. And when he refused to answer questions, fans labeled him cold. Eris, the baby of the family, was even turned into a meme, with one old clip repurposed as "even she saw it coming." Internet cruelty doesn't care about age, and through it all, the Harris family learned the most painful lesson. The internet doesn't wait for official statements. It doesn't care about facts, privacy, or dignity. It rewrites stories in real time, creating its own director's cut while the actual family is still living the script. Because here's the truth. Nobody wants to admit the exact words from the doctors. Still a mystery. Nobody outside that room knows what was said. But that didn't stop millions from deciding for themselves. The phrase ICU report became less about medical updates and more about spectacle. It wasn't just a diagnosis. It was a plot twist. A storyline. Viral fuel for a culture addicted to chaos. So what's left after the storm? For King Harris, a scarred reputation that may never fully heal. For T.I. and Tiny, a family legacy cracked open for the world to mock, pity, or exploit. For the industry, a chilling reminder that celebrity kids aren't shielded. They're exposed, dissected, and consumed. And for fans? Another viral saga they'll move on from. until the next meltdown hits, but make no mistake, the Harris ICU saga won't fade quietly. It's etched into digital history, immortalized by hashtags, memes, think pieces, and fan edits. Even if King recovers, even if the family rebuilds, the internet will never let them escape this chapter. Because that's the price of fame in 2025, it doesn't just cost your privacy. It costs your peace. It costs your peace. And maybe, just maybe, that's the scariest part of this whole report. Not what the doctors said. Not the ICU silence. But the fact that in today's world, tragedy isn't just experienced. It's consumed, packaged, meme iFeed, sold to us like entertainment. So was this truly King Harris ICU shock, or just the latest episode of a never-ending reality show where the internet writes the script? Either way, one thing's certain, the Harris dynasty will never be viewed the same again. And there it is, the leaks. The tears, the silence, and the icy whispers that turned King Harris' life into the internet's new obsession. But don't fool yourself into thinking this is the end. In celebrity culture, there is no end. There are only cliffhangers, scandals, and sequels waiting to drop like surprise MIXTAPS. Now it's your turn to add fuel to the fire. Smash that like button like you're TI swinging at rumors. Drop your wildest theories in the comments. Was this truly King's ICU shock, or just another chapter in the messy soap opera that fame keeps writing? And don't forget to subscribe, because if you miss even one update, you'll be that clueless friend walking into the group chat asking, wait, what happened? Don't be that person here on this channel. We don't sip tea politely, we pour the whole kettle, burn the table, and then serve dessert. While the blogs give you headlines, we give you the uncut, unfiltered, sarcastic chaos. Tomorrow, next week, another scandal is already warming up in the wings. And you'll want front row seats when it explodes. So buckle up, stay locked in, and remember, this isn't just gossip. This is the internet's blood sport, and the Harris family just gave us a season we'll never forget. This is Trent Tattle, where the mess gets messier, the scandals get louder, and the truth always comes with a side of sarcasm.